Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Tech Bros podcast featuring myself, Egerton, and also Raj.
Hello, although it may not actually be afternoon when people are listening.
That is true.
I mean, I was wondering, it's like, oh yeah, good afternoon, yeah. And then someone's listening to it at 2 a.m. being like, what?
Yeah, exactly. It is currently 16:47 in the afternoon in London,
Exact. Yes.
but it may be a different time where you are.
I mean, you know what they say, it's always afternoon somewhere.
That is true. That is true. And today we are going to be talking about numerous topics, actually. Um, Very interesting topics, especially some that I've never heard of before. So this is going to be a very interesting podcast.
I mean, ultimately, I think it's good that we all learn something from
Hmm.
this, and that includes us and hopefully the people listening. And, if we all learn something, then I guess it has been a productive day for everyone. you haven't, you've done something today.
Exactly. So let's look at our first topic of today. So it is going to be Revolut Kids.
And we should stress this was, I believe, mentioned last time. And
Yes.
this is us actually going back and saying, like, oh, we're going to discuss this next time. And we actually did get to it. So, hooray.
I'm sure we've forgotten other topics further down the road anyway.
I think there is something in episode 1 that we forgot about, and it's just been nagging away at me for the last 2 months, and I
Yeah.
can't sleep as a result. Someone
Really?
please let us know what we missed.
We're gonna have to listen back through the whole episode to find out what that is.
Yeah.
Right, so Revolut Kids. Okay. So Revolut has introduced a new product aimed for kids between the ages of 7 and 17 called Revolut Kids. It's an account for kids that can be monitored by their parents because, as you know, parents want to monitor what the kids are spending their money on, especially when they go to school. Like, are you to spend your money on sweets or are you actually using your money wisely? So that's a good thing for them. And also, the aim of Revolut Kids is to teach kids life skills such as responsible spending and also to budget because in the curriculum nowadays, that is not even mentioned anymore. So, it's a good thing that Revolut's actually found that, this is sort of a gap in learning for kids. And this is what we want to, um, you know, educate our kids with on how to spend money and to also budget.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that schools equip you with being able to solve simultaneous equations and
Hmm.
able to color in maps with crayon, but ultimately it doesn't help you with the skills that actually come into use in your everyday adult life, such as being able to budget and being
Yeah.
able to save money and stuff like that, and how to spend responsibly. So I guess yes, it's something that should be taught, and I guess it depends on how it's done, right?
Hmm. Exactly. So when you do sign up, the kid is given a Visa card, a Visa debit card, not a Visa credit card.
Oh my gosh.
Could you
Imagine that.
imagine?
Oh
Could
my
you
god.
imagine?
I just have like the image of a 7-year-old with like that green visor on his head, and he's doing his taxes, and he's going through his Visa bill. Oh, I spent like 2,000 last month on those car repairs. Oh, it's awful.
Oh, could you imagine just leaving your kids to spend their money, and it just makes me think of a kid that's just running aimlessly, to just going to every shop, just using the card, and you're just seeing on your phone transaction, 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 transaction.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Um. So, um, with this, although it is it is a very good product, I must admit, and I've not really heard of any other sort of bank that offers this sort of service.
Huh?
Um, However, with this is a downside. Um, as I was doing a bit of research earlier, that Revolut Kids is only available if you have a premium or metal membership.
Yeah, because they have to encourage the adults to actually, take part in uh in their business before they actually allow you to have the kids account.
Yeah, I was just like, really?
But I guess in a way it makes sense. Like if you imagine people who haven't made those membership options available to themselves beforehand, that
Mm,
people might just create kids accounts and then use it for, I don't know, illicit purposes or something like that.
mm,
'Cause I don't know if necessarily the children's account might be under the same scrutiny by Revolut and also by financial authorities, perhaps. So
hmm.
there's a little bit of a grey area there.
Yeah.
Obviously, they can't ensure. Well, I'm sure that they have some ways of ensuring that there actually is a kid that's using the account, and maybe like, did you see if there were any limits on how much you can have and stuff like that?
Not that I saw.
Okay, so you could have a kid who's like a billionaire.
True. That is true. That is
I
true.
mean, I'm sure there's some rich families out there who give copious amounts of pocket money.
Oh dear. And yeah, but this with this meta membership. The thing is, the only reason why I'm being like this is because I used to be on the meta membership. It's not cheap.
Can you explain for our listeners what a metal membership is?
Okay, so I'll mention premium and metal, right? So with the premium, well, both of them have additional benefits than the usual standard accounts. Premium With premium, you get like a different type of card. And I think you can also, with the premium, you can actually request a MasterCard rather than having a Visa card
Yeah.
because the exchange rates, pardon me, the exchange rates for MasterCard are much better than Visa.
Okay. Yeah.
So, so yes, so with that, you get like a space gray, silver, or rose gold card.
All about rose gold. People pay good money for everything they have to be in rose gold.
They do, they do. You gain interest on your savings. So you get 0.8% interest per year.
0.8.
Yep,
Wow.
0.8.
Which is
Woohoo!
rubbish, but compared to other options, amazing.
That's true. That's true. You get cashback rewards and discount on brands that you love. Um, then Revolut Kids, aka Revolut Junior, you get um, accounts for two children. So if you've got more than two children, you're kind of stuffed. Sorry.
I mean, I guess it's like I don't know, like if you have more than two kids, and you're going to set them all up with bank accounts, I'd be very worried.
Oh dear. What else? You get commission-free stock trading, and it says your first 8 trades are commission-free per month.
Oh, okay. So you said that there was this metal card. How much is that membership?
Okay, so premium is $6.99 and metal is $12.99. And when we say metal, we actually mean metal. So
Mm,
it's an actual metal card that you have. Like me, I do have my metal card. Still after I came out of my subscription because it's still valid for another 3 years. It is a very nice metal card, and with the metal card, you have it in black, gold, or rose gold.
yeah, again, people love the rose
Rose gold, rose gold, and the cashback you get 1%. um, on every card payment. Oh well, yes, it says that you earn 1% cash back. Um, your interest is again 0.8 per year. Revolut Kids, you can create cards for up to 5 children.
Oh wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, 5 children. Um, the commission free stock trading, you've got unlimited commission free trades, and you got free disposable virtual card and priority support.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, to be honest, it's I think it's okay. I think at the time because well at the time that I was a card holder, half of these things weren't there. That's the first thing, and two, probably some other functions I wasn't using anyway. So that's why I just decided to cancel. 12.99 per month may not seem like a lot of money, but it is.
I mean, this is, I guess, related to what we'll discuss in a bit, but
Yeah.
do you think that it kind of, because I guess we mentioned last time that you are a sort of an early investor, right? That you've kind of seen the company transition over a number of years.
Yeah.
And I guess like they would have probably started as like a digital wallet, right? Like they start as a kind of a digital payment service
Hmm.
along the lines of like Apple Pay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess like, would you say that this is sort of you're seeing them now as kind of taking on more than just that? I'm trying to be more of, I guess, a like a financial, uh, I guess, advisory company. Like, well, I mean, it's kind of hard to describe now, isn't it? Like they're kind of
Mm.
taking on a lot of different things. Like, how would you sort of like say if someone asked you to describe what Revolut is, how would you go about describing what it is that they do now?
Oh, that's a difficult one because they do a lot of things now. Like Revolut before just used to be an modern online bank that you could put money in, and
Yeah.
now it's evolved so much, like stocks, cashback. It has, I think, not only Revolut but companies such as Monzo as well. I might just add Starling Bank into it as well.
Mhm.
Have really evolved over the years,
Yeah.
with all the all the different products and services. So I'll say, as a whole, I'll say like it's probably a modern day online bank
Yeah.
that I would say, rather than the olden day online banking, because online banking, you would just think of making transactions online on the net and that's it.
Mhm.
That's what you would associate online banking with. But now online bank basically means a bank that is online.
Yeah, and also provides maybe some of the services that a bank would, such as giving you advice on how to manage your
Hmm.
money, which probably explains why they're branching out into this kids account as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Hmm.
guess it is interesting that you kind of see a company start from, you know, like a lot of sort of fintech companies, they
Yeah.
start from very small beginnings and then they try to basically be, I guess, a competitor to
Hmm.
the very well established hundreds of years old
Hmm.
banks
Yeah.
that your sort of high street banks.
Hmm.
But I guess you could say that stuff like this is good for times like now where it's kind of difficult to go to actual banks
Hmm.
perhaps, and things are a lot more sort of uncertain, I guess, and
Yes.
maybe having an option like this is kind of good as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm.
Okay. So that was Revolut Kids. So we are now going to move on to something that I didn't know about, which is Chinese cryptocurrency, DCEP.
Right. So buckle up.
God.
So basically, there have been plans for a while, and this has been in the work for a few years now, I think around about 5 years,
Mhm.
that China is looking to launch essentially the world's first sovereign digital currency.
Yes.
So this DCEP, it's digital currency, electronic payments. And essentially they've had some presentations recently giving some details about it, but there's certain aspects of it that are still unknown. And the way that they are kind of framing it is that it's seen as a way of like having basically a state approved way of having a digital currency, rather than, obviously there's a lot of stuff right now, like obviously Bitcoin, but then there's lots of others like Ethereum and a bunch of cryptocurrencies that have kind of come out for the past few years, and it's been a bit of a wild west because there's been a lot of illicit payments that have been made using sort of cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. Now, obviously, it's very difficult to discuss stuff like this without wading into politics, and we have to try to skirt away from that. But one of the things that's kind of different about this is usually, and in terms of the way that cryptocurrencies were, I suppose, founded upon, was that it would be decentralized, basically. So you would have people who kind of work together to ensure the authenticity of transactions, and basically that's where the sort of mining comes into it. What people don't really know is that when people are mining, what they're doing is that they're actually ensuring the integrity of transactions by actually checking, using some complicated maths that I'm not going to get into, but essentially checking that these transactions are genuine by doing some hard cryptographic maths. And what's weird about this now, this sovereign digital currency, is what was before like a decentralized system is now going to be owned and managed by the state. And essentially it's like having a central bank, but in a sort of digital form. And so this idea of a blockchain, of this ledger that basically everyone is involved in managing, that's what makes it so decentralized, is now kind of not there, which is then weird that everyone's kind of saying that it's like a China's cryptocurrency, when actually the crypto bit of it isn't really there, because it's not actually being cryptographically secured by people mining, because there is no mining involved in this currency from what we can see. So it's a bit strange, but I guess what would have been sort of your thoughts that you've been able to gather from it?
Well, from what that I'll say the research that I've done again. So yeah, as you said, that it's actually issued by the People's Bank of China.
Yes, and they basically have this digital currency research institute from that's within the Chinese central bank, and they've essentially been sort of working on this for the past few years.
And I know that they said that this was to replace the reserve money system, which in turn would cut the cost and friction of bank transfers.
Yes, and also they want to just get rid of sort of competition from like Bitcoin, and in particular they mentioned the
Facebook
Libra, They don't seem very happy about that one.
They're not happy at all.
They explicitly mentioned Libra quite a lot.
Yeah, they did. And as of the 22nd of June, it has been noted that the back-end infrastructure of DCEP has been completed.
Which again is like strange, because you don't really know what the back end is, especially if it doesn't actually involve mining and I guess the sort of cryptographic side of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Because again, it allows kind of you to be able to monitor all of the various sort of transactions going on, but rather than being managed kind of by everyone sort of together in this network, it's now being managed by the state itself.
Exactly. And there was one thing which I was very surprised about, which was the companies that are actually lined up to actually test DCEP. So they stated that McDonald's and Starbucks was going to be a few of the companies to actually test the currency.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they obviously have a lot of business there, so I guess it makes sense that they offer that as a sort of a payment method alongside. I mean, you have like sort of Apple Pay, and in China you also have Alipay as well. That Alibaba manages these sort of
Yes.
digital
Mm-hmm.
payment methods,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's probably the thing that I sort of get from it is that it is more like I think it is more along the lines of like essentially a large scale version of something like Revolut, rather than actually being like a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, because you don't really have the same sort of blockchain technology behind it, at least from what I can tell. You have more of what I guess we're talking about in terms of Revolut, except of course, on a much larger scale and actually being sanctioned by a sort of state government.
Yes, exactly. Just thinking. Ah, we've all discussed our points already.
Well, what were you going to say?
Oh no, because I was just seeing how, because another thing, as you mentioned, the whole blockchain and the cryptocurrency technology, it was saying that it was built on that.
Build on what?
Built on blockchain and cryptocurrency technology.
Yeah, but I guess it's sort of weird because there's some places that say it's sort of partially powered by the blockchain, but then we sort of don't know what that really means to be partially powered by it.
Exactly.
Because I guess it's the idea is that you're meant to have like this sort of digital wallet that people can put money into, which again sounds like something like Revolut or Monzo.
Mm-hmm.
And then how you actually make sure that these transactions are genuine isn't managed by loads of people, because that's essentially not what they want to do, because they want to create something that's not along the lines of something like Bitcoin, where from what they can sort of see, this decentralization is what allows illicit transfers of money to occur, because it's not actually managed by some sort of central authority like you would a bank. So yeah, it's just a bit confusing to really know what exactly this is.
Exactly. It'll be very interesting to see once it is actually up and running how it'll be, but I'm sure we will definitely hear about it in the news as soon as it is up and running.
Yeah, and also it's not necessarily surprising that something like this is being developed. I think it was only sort of a matter of time before we see kind of official governments actually take notice of digital currencies and what they can do. Because obviously, like, we're sort of transitioning away from cash anyway, and
Yeah.
that was another thing, is that they want to sort of do this in order to actually protect Chinese currency as well. Because then you can have this sort of digital wallet that then directly transfers to the sort of Chinese yuan currency.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, very, very, very interesting concept. And I'll definitely be, keeping a lookout on how it goes. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that we can revisit in future, because it's kind of something that will evolve. And who knows, a lot can change very quickly, as is evidenced by our next topic as well.
Oh God. Okay. Next topic.
Are you ready for this one?
Oh, this has been what can we say? It has been probably the most talked about thing of 2012 so far. Not 2012, God.
2012.
2020.
2012.
2012.
Welcome to the 2012 podcast. What
And
was even? What a great time that was.
oh, that was a fantastic time. It was a fantastic time. Yeah, but the whole talk of 2020, which is contact tracing.
Yeah, well, I guess the most probably the biggest story within technology, at least,
Yes.
I'd say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, like, this is like a huge topic, and there's a lot to sort of unpack here, shall we
Mm-hmm.
say?
Yeah.
But I guess we'll be sort of primarily talking about it on a UK level, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I
Mm-hmm.
guess that's where we have the most kind of frame of reference, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, with contact tracing, so the aim of contact tracing, and correct me if I'm wrong because we haven't really seen it in action just yet, really. Which is to basically trace if you've had any contact with any person that has been infected with coronavirus.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and also just to track if you've come across anyone who has the virus themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and to try and keep a tab on where there might be potential for someone to pass it on to someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, with contact tracing, there is an app, but I don't think the app is actually available to us at the moment, is it?
So there was this trial that went on here
Mm-hmm.
in the Isle of Wight,
Mm-hmm.
and app was being developed there, and they were sort of being encouraged to install it there so that they can try it out and see how well it works.
Mm-hmm.
And the aim was for them to roll it out across the rest of the UK,
Mm-hmm.
but they have since pulled back on that plan for sort of a number of technical reasons, but also reasons that are related to companies that manage the sort of app stores. So,
Yes.
your Apple and your Google,
Google.
who put certain restrictions on it that make it difficult to actually develop an app that's able to do what we need it to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But talking about the Apples and the Googles, um, I'm not sure if people have noticed that if you go into your settings of your phone, there is an there is actually contact tracing that's actually installed onto your phone, but would only work if you have the app installed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that was probably installed overnight that you would have not known about. But like let's how would I say the infrastructure for the whole contact tracing app to work is on your phones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a very interesting thing. I didn't actually know about it myself until I think I saw it on a news article
Mm-hmm.
that said that, Google and Apple had installed stuff overnight and all of a sudden, contact tracing.
Basically, yeah. And the problem is that once the sort of the government had said that they were looking to roll out an app, people
Mm-hmm.
sort of took notice of it. And then once they kind of retracted their plan and left
Mm-hmm.
it more to the sort of big tech companies to manage it themselves,
Yes.
I believe they're still working with sort of the NHS's sort of technology department, NHSX department.
Mm-hmm.
But since that, it hasn't been sort of covered as much, I
Yeah.
think.
Mm-hmm.
And so people don't really know what is sort of happening with it. Obviously, the app was kind of seen as a really promising way of being able to manage these sorts of things, being able to look at statistics in terms of infection rates at a sort of
Mm-hmm.
wider level, so you can see how
Yeah.
much people come into contact in a particular area.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't really come to fruition, at least in the way that the government sort of envisioned it.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So I don't think that no, they did give a time frame, but I'm not sure if they have actually kept to that time frame of when they are actually going to release the app.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they, I mean, time frame currently isn't given, and I think it's because they're still sort of working with the big tech companies, and they're trying to basically do something that has been done in other countries.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Um, so the way that they wanted to have it work was that you would use Bluetooth, and your Bluetooth will send out a signal,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever it gets paired with another Bluetooth signal from a phone, so if you're passing someone,
Mm-hmm.
um, then they'll sort of, the two signals will handshake, so to speak, and it will kind of give you an indication of the fact that, hey, you've, been near this person. And as people then record their sort of symptoms into the app, you can sort of keep track on, for each phone, is this person experiencing symptoms? Have they had a positive or negative test? Stuff like that. And then you can sort of track, people who have had symptoms of the infection, how those people have come into contact using Bluetooth. And the problem is that these app stores don't actually allow for, well, I'm not sure if it's the technology of the app stores, but you can't have the Bluetooth on and able to actually read as many signals as you want it to. So say if you're in a crowded area and you're walking past loads and loads of people, Bluetooth doesn't stay active and it's able to like keep track of everyone you're walking past. So I think in their sort of preliminary tests, they found that maybe only 1 in 25 signals are actually being registered using this Bluetooth method. So it was missing a lot of people that you were coming into contact with, which is a problem because obviously we need to be able to know, whether you actually come into contact with people, with anyone really.
Exactly.
And then I guess it's obviously a tricky one in terms of, how long is a good time. So if you just walk past someone, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
But if you stay in sort of prolonged contact, like say if you're standing next to each other on a train or something like that, then that might be sort of more of a problem. And then if the sort of issue is then this data we obviously want to be able to upload and look at on a wider level to see where are sort of the hot spots. But there's a lot of privacy concerns about that. And the way that Apple and Google want to do it is basically they don't want any information to leave your phone, basically. So what they're doing is basically just working on a sort of keeping everything on your phone and basically making it more accurate so that it actually reads more contacts with people, and also making it so that people are less concerned about sort of trust of like, oh, the government's sort of taking all of my data, and obviously location data is very sensitive as well. So the way that they would envision it is they basically you would enter like part of your postcode so that they know the rough area. Then past that, don't actually take any location data. So nothing in terms of GPS. So they don't actually know where you're going. But they just know, hey, this person said they're in this area, that's where they live. And this is the contacts they have. And again, that data doesn't leave your phone. So it's very complicated.
Very complicated, but I'm sure that they'll get there. And the app will finally be released.
I mean, I think that it's definitely promising, and there's a I guess a claim to be made that obviously you need to have both people in order to actually record like a transfer of the disease. You need to have both people with the phone on, with the app on, with Bluetooth on at the same time. Obviously, some people don't have access to technology, which is an issue.
Not everybody keeps their Bluetooth on.
Bluetooth is also a battery drainer as well.
Exactly. That's why I don't always have mine on.
Well, I mean, people don't usually have a reason to keep it on aside from if they're connecting it to like a speaker or something. But I guess this sort of keeping Bluetooth on, throughout the sort of process is weird, and especially if they were going to look into location data as well. Both Bluetooth and GPS on. That's a lot of battery you're going to be using up, especially if you're playing Pokemon Go at the same time.
Pokemon Go.
That's how I envisioned it to be. Like you would be walking around this map and see potential coronavirus people on the map.
Oh dear. But yeah, we just have to stay tuned really, and just wait for those announcements by Boris. And even now, as of the 10th of July, lockdown's even getting eased even more.
Yeah, and that's especially since it's being eased and less people are going to be staying at home. Obviously, initially, people are going to be hesitant to, go out from their
Mhm.
houses.
Mhm.
But obviously, as people are going out more, there's more need for us to track
Yes.
potential contacts between those with the virus passing it on to
Mhm.
others.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. So that was contact tracing. So we are now going to move on to something that I don't have much knowledge in. So Raj will have to help me out on this one, which is DeepMind AI playing diplomacy.
Let me see. So basically, DeepMind have been working on AI to basically beat humans at a series of different games. So obviously they had an AI that beats the world Go champion. And of course, AI playing games has had a long history of beating humans at chess and at checkers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And DeepMind has sort of moved on to StarCraft 2 recently, which has been quite interesting, and have managed to beat a StarCraft 2 champion.
Mhm.
And the idea sort of is that, if we get AI to be able to perform well at these games where there's sort of fixed rules and we know
Mhm.
how things kind of work, then we can use the same AI to solve, real world problems, stuff
Mhm.
that's a bit more sort of pressing and, I guess more important than chess. So what they're kind of doing now is they're looking more at sort of collaboration between AI and humans, and they're using the game of diplomacy,
Mhm.
which is a game that basically requires you to be able to form alliances with people and collaborate.
Mhm.
Um, in the way that they're doing it, they're not having sort of communication between players and humans,
Okay.
um, but it does sometimes, it requires you to kind of, an AI needs to know, okay, I need to work with this person in order to um, ensure my sort of long-term success.
Mhm.
And maybe I don't want to get into wars with people that I don't want might sort
Mm.
of beat me, basically.
Mhm. Okay.
And interestingly, they've DeepMind actually also looked at a game that you might remember called Hanabi.
Oh, my favorite game.
Your favorite. Do you explain to listeners the game of Hanabi?
Hanabi. Right. So the aim of Hanabi is that, um, well, you've got how many different colors? Is it five different colors?
Yeah, 5.
All right. So you got five different colors, and you basically need to get your cards 1 to 5 for each of the colors.
And you have to play them
And
in order, 1
yes,
and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, etc.
exactly. You have to put it in. You have to do it in order, and you have to ensure that you don't discard the wrong cards, or you play cards that are either already been played or out of order.
So you can't play the blue 3 until you've played the blue 2. Um,
Yes,
and so say if you have the blue 2 on the table and someone plays a blue 4, then that's bad because you haven't played the 3 yet.
yes, and that is called a misfire.
Yes.
And you've only got 3 of those, and once you've hit 3 of those, the game is over.
And one thing to stress is that you actually don't see what you have in your own hand. So
Yes,
if you're playing it physically, you hold your cards the other way round so that everyone else can see but you.
yes.
Um, and so you're kind of relying on other people to give you hints as to what's actually in your hand.
Oh yes, the hints, but those hints do run out.
Yes, they run out. And that's when you have to discard in order to actually get hints back. But then you might be discarding stuff that you may need, unless you actually know, based on the hints that you've been given, what's actually in your hand.
Exactly.
So why this is sort of interesting, I guess, from a AI perspective, is because you have a game where outside of this sort of hints, you can't sort of communicate. Obviously, it's like against the game if you're just like, oh, this is a blue 3 over here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you're only reliant on the sort of hints, and so there's limited communication allowed.
Yes.
But you still have to sort of collaborate, and you
Hmm.
kind of over time develop this kind of secret language almost,
Yeah.
where like I give you a hint to say like, hey, this is free, wink wink. I don't actually wink, but you then know like, oh, I should play this, and I haven't
Yeah.
told you that. So that's why it's
Hmm.
sort of been interesting for like AI to go into Hanabi, because it's again about collaboration and about
Hmm.
communication.
Exactly.
So diplomacy is kind of that, but much more complicated, and I guess much more messy,
Hmm.
because Hanabi is quite controlled and small rather than diplomacy, which is quite large and complicated, and there's more people involved. There's like 6 people involved rather than just 4 in Hanabi.
Hmm.
Um, but it kind of then allows you to be able to hopefully reason about more complex problems, and
Hmm.
dealing with multiple people and keeping everyone happy, and trying to work together
Hmm.
rather than these sort of competitive games like chess and so on.
Oh God, even chess I can't even play. Chess I can't play. I can't play drafts. All those games count me out. I can't play those.
You know that that drafts or checkers has been solved, so you can basically play completely perfectly.
Really?
Yeah, there was this final of the checkers championship in like the 19th century, and every game in the final was a draw,
Oh wow.
because basically there's like at every given point there's like an optimal move you can do.
Hmm.
And actually like 11, I think it was something like 11 games were completely identical, like move for move, because both guys were like behaving in a way that was completely like perfect, because there's always a certain move that you had to do at that stage.
Mm, okay. Hmm, interesting. So yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see with AI and well, would I say board games?
Yeah, I mean, both. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah, and even video games to extent, like with StarCraft 2, and
Hmm.
they're looking at obviously these sorts of things because it's useful for being able
Hmm.
to model more complex problems.
Yeah. Okay. So that was DeepMind AI. So we are going to move on to our last topic. Another one that surprised me because I didn't know this. David Beckham's esports team.
Yeah,
Yes. So, if you didn't know, David Beckham is a co-owner of esports team GG, which is also known as Golden Balls. Which is I, when I saw Golden Balls, I was just like, really?
is it called Golden Balls? I thought it was called Guild.
I got Golden Balls.
Oh, Guild.
We're just gonna just verify that.
I thought that his. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Esports. The
Let's see.
co-owner of Guild Esports. Oh, I see Guild.
I've got Golden Balls.
Are you sure you're not getting it confused with the game show of the 2000s hosted by Jasper Carrot?
No, I don't know. Uh, we'll get that one clarified because yeah,
I mean, I see Guild here.
yeah. I don't even know. Where did that come from?
Where did you get yours from?
Oh God. Hold on. Esports. Yeah, here
Bear
it
with us,
is.
folks.
Here it is. I knew where I got it from. I got it from Eurogamer. So it says here, David Beckham is co-owner of an esports team now, GG Golden Balls.
From Eurogamer.
Yeah.
When was this published?
This was on the 25th of the 6th. So last month.
Oh, I'm very confused because I'm looking at like a few other places and it says Guild Esports. formerly the Lord Esports. And their league has multiple teams.
He must have.
Well, no, actually, you can't because this is on the same day. You can't have like purchased 2 in one day or something.
Mm, you wouldn't put it past people.
I mean, I guess he is rich, so it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Oh
Okay,
well.
so
Hmm.
it's called one of those two things. It's the gist of it.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so one of those two things. Yeah, because even on my thing here, it says invested in Guilds Esports based in London.
Yeah, Guild. Yeah.
So I don't know where this GG, aka Golden Balls, has come from, but we will look into that because that's
Wait,
a
are you sure? Are you sure you're not getting it mixed up with the fact that his nickname is Golden Balls?
I don't know.
Oh no, I know what you've done. That's the subtitle to the article. That's not his team.
Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, and that is
Like,
shock. It was because I was checking on my phone.
so the article is on Eurogamer is David Beckham is co-owner of an esports team now, and the subtitle says GG Golden Balls because his nickname in his playing days was Golden Balls, and GG means good game, so it's like a joke in the subtitle.
Ah, that's another thing I didn't know.
Okay,
Okay,
well, there you
well at least we got that clarified.
go. So it is actually called Guild.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna create something called the Big Book of Lies, and I'm just gonna put that whole golden balls in there.
Yeah,
That's my
are you
first
gonna
lie.
are you gonna cut out that entire section?
No, I'm gonna leave it in, but I'll create something called the Big Book of Lies. So that is my way of correcting myself.
Oh man.
Oh gosh, and yeah, so the esports team will be focusing on players from like let's say Rocket League, FIFA, and Fortnite,
That's right.
and it'll be like an academy style kind of way where you know their players will be coached by people like David Beckham.
Well, I don't know if he plays Rocket League though.
No, no, he wouldn't play Rocket League, but more FIFA.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe if he has like some tactics that he can offer,
Hmm.
that might be useful.
Yeah, yeah, more FIFA, and also, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. It says here that he will work with former Activision vice president Carlton Curtis. Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, so
So
it's kind of like it's interesting because he wants to also like have like this scout system, which is very much like football, I guess,
yeah.
like it's in sort of playing days where you would find people training on some pitch somewhere and then
Hmm.
ask them if they want to join your team, like Manchester United or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like similar in that sense. But it's kind of, I don't know, the reason that I thought it was interesting just because it's this parallel now of, esports being seen like actual sports.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That's true, and especially, I'm just thinking back to my expo days, like when I went to EGX and MCM, and they always have like an esports tournament going on, and you really see how people put all the efforts, the whole
Mm-hmm.
effort and their weight into esports. And at that time, I was always thinking, what is so, how can I say, why are people so serious about esports? And kind of
Mm-hmm.
after reading this and reading the statistics, which I'll give in a bit, now I get it that why people are so serious about esports.
I mean, so long as there's a game or a sport of some kind, there's always going to be people who want to try and be the best at it, or want to
Yes.
be like the fastest man in the world, and so like Usain Bolt, and you train every day in order to become the fastest man, or you are really good at chess and you train to be the best at chess in the world. And so it's
Yeah.
the same thing, because it's, you know, it's something where someone could try to be better than everyone else, and so naturally something like a sport scene comes out of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, and just two statistics for you. No, actually, yeah, two. Well, one statistic for you, and one thing you may not have known, which is the global market for esports is currently valued at $1.1 billion, with a potential rise to 1.56 billion in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, also, it's just the fact that I guess it's kind of like you have like a few that are like really big. Like you still have League of Legends, and then you have Fortnite, which is now really big, and you have FIFA, which is always going to be big, and then you have others which are maybe not quite as big, like Counter Strike and maybe like player unknown battlegrounds and stuff like that. So there's quite a lot of like different options as well.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why I wouldn't necessarily like. I saw this article in the Economist, which was essentially asking whether it would be good for Fortnite to be included in the Olympics.
Oh no.
And I kind of feel like, why mix them though? Like,
Yeah.
I guess like they are, at the end of the day, esports, not sports, and they don't necessarily need to aspire to be sports, because you know, they're not physical activities, but also it's kind of like they're just different, and you don't need to like compare apples to oranges.
Exactly. And also other notable names that are actually looking to go into esports are people like Drake, Michael Jordan, and also Diddy.
Who?
You say who?
Who?
Diddy.
Diddy?
Diddy. He's a singer.
Oh, P Diddy.
Yeah, P Diddy.
Oh, I thought you meant Diddy Kong from the popular Donkey Kong series.
Oh no. No.
Oh, maybe not then.
No.
I
But
know Drake loves Fortnite. I know that. He's a big fan.
a very big fan of Fortnite.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just cool. It's cool. It's interesting that it's kind of being seen as like, I mean, certainly as lucrative, if not more lucrative than some sports now, right? Than actual sports. Maybe it doesn't compete with the likes of your football and stuff. And I don't know, but it might even like outclass other sports like cricket or rugby in terms of viewership, right? Which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Exactly. Or tennis.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was on David Beckham. And another big thing I need to put in the big book of lies is I said that was the last topic. It isn't.
He's done it again.
I've done it again. 2 in 1 episode.
Cannot believe it. He did it again.
Oh, dear. We'll get there. Right, so there was one other topic for my Londoners. Whoop, whoop. Which is Uber taking over the Thames Clipper service. So, if you didn't know, Uber is going to be taking over the Thames Clipper service from the summer. So all the branding will be showing as Uber, or as I would like to call it, Uber Boat or Uber Ship.
What? I was going to say you could call it U-boat, but that's actually a really bad idea.
Oh, U-boat. Are you going to U-boat?
I was like, maybe we shouldn't call it that. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, but the official name is going to be Uber Boat.
Okay, well, I mean, they could technically shorten it as that, which would be pretty bad.
I don't know why they couldn't just say Uber Clippers.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd go with that.
Uber Clippers sounds nicer, like Uber boat. Like this made me
Like
think boat.
people know about London Clippers, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uber boat. So basically, Uber will be buying the naming rights for the 20 strong fleet, which is River Thames Clippers. I was going to say River Clippers, which runs from Putney, all the way to Greenwich.
Greenwich, yeah.
Yes, Greenwich, which is the O2. I haven't been up to Putney on the Clippers actually. I've only been as far as Tate.
Yeah. But I guess to dial it back for people who aren't in London, I guess we can describe like the Clippers as being the kind of a taxi service
Yes.
that are basically boats that run on the River
No,
Thames.
River Thames. River Taxi. That's what TFL will call it. River Taxi.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And honestly, like if you're someone who commutes to work on a
mhm.
Clipper, I'm very jealous of you.
I used to do it for a bit.
Like, that actually just sounds like a nice way to go to work rather than having to get the stinky train.
It's I would say it's a nicety. It's nice, but it's not the cheapest.
Oh yeah, it will be expensive.
It's expensive. It's
Mm.
expensive. But you do have a nice cafe on board.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you have a nice cafe, and usually it is quicker than probably taking the train because it does go pretty fast on the water.
And you're not going to have traffic.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have river traffic.
I mean, have you ever been? Because obviously, if you're going on like a train, you'll have delays. Like, Have you ever been delayed on a river taxi?
Nope, never.
So there you go. Like, it's just nice. It's just quicker and nicer.
Yeah, like if it was actually a bit more cheaper, instead of me taking the train to central London, I'll take the boat.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you need to obviously live and also work near the banks of the Thames in order
True.
to make it happen in terms of your commute. But obviously, if you're going, towards the center, if you're
Hmm.
well, I don't know why you're going out now. Maybe later on you can start going out again. But yeah, like in terms of a way of commuting, it's really nice.
Yes. Yes. And as before, you will be able to use your Oyster or you'll be able to buy tickets. A new feature is now that through your Uber app, you can generate a QR code, which will allow you access onto the boat. So you pay through your Uber app,
Mm.
and you just scan your QR code, and on you go. So that's another addition to the Uber app.
And that actually might get people to use it more because I think that usually the problem would be that actually getting a ticket can sometimes be a bit of a
Tedious.
yeah.
It is very tedious. That's why I tend to use my Oyster, and then
If
Oyster's like
people,
£7.
wow. So if people have the app, it'll just be better, really.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll just be quicker to go on the.
Hmm. And what else is it? One thing I didn't know that the Thames Clipper service was actually partly owned by the owners of the O2. And for those
That's,
people that don't know what the O2 is, it's an events venue.
wait, it's owned by O2.
Majority owned by AEG, which is the owners of O2.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, so they decided to get a little bit of money by letting Uber take it over.
Hmm. Exactly.
Right, Uber's going to take over everything.
Well, this is the thing because we're very surprised that Uber is taking this as has gone for this because if people rightly go back to last November, Uber lost their license to operate in London.
Yes, that's right.
So now that when that eventually comes to end, they're done. They're now going to start the boat service, so they're not going to leave London at all.
I mean, it could well be that they just. I think they're probably still appealing against the
Yeah,
judgment of revoking their license. So
They are.
they might just be confident that they'll be fine in that regard, and so are sort of continuing to expand, and also I guess distance themselves from rivals, right? Because there are a lot of rivals now to them. Because you have
Yes.
like you have your lift, you have your get, you have
Captain
um, captain.
Bolt.
Uh, yeah, so you have like a lot of rivals now, and
Hmm.
so I guess this is one way in which they can differentiate themselves.
Exactly, because the Thames Clippers is the only river service that takes you from pier to pier. All the other boat services are all leisure boat services. So
I mean, there's only one river, so
mhm.
there's only one. It's like I own. It's like if you own the roads. There's loads of different roads, but there's only one river, and if you own the river, then you
That's
basically have
it.
a monopoly on it.
Exactly. And they're smart for that.
Exactly.
Exactly. But yeah, that was Uber and Thames Clippers. So that's all the topics that we have today.
Yeah,
Um,
he's actually correct now. That
oh God, it's gonna be fun writing up the big book of lies today.
exactly.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode, and yeah, we'll be back soon for a next one. We don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but we'll get something very interesting for you.
Hopefully, yes.
Yes,
I mean, so long as stuff actually starts happening, because right now not much is happening.
that is true. That is true. Nothing's really happening at the moment. All conventions, such as EGX, has been cancelled.
Very
So,
sad.
yeah, because I was hoping to go in. I was hoping to go to the main EGX because it's this about 5 minutes from where I live. Because it used to be in Birmingham, and now it's in London. And it has been cancelled. So sad times.
Sad times indeed.
Sad times. But yeah, we'll definitely come up with something.
Yeah, and we hope to have you again for that one.
Yes. So it is goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Oh, I've always wanted to say that.
Oh God. Okay, so we'll see you very soon.
See ya.
Bye bye.